Right, guys, welcome back to Irish Footy Vlogs. Welcome back to another Premier Division show. There was no Premier Division show, unfortunately, last week. Struggling a little bit, but a bout of tonsillitis, basically. But here we are today, and we're going to look back at the games that occurred on Friday night. And we're going to start off at the Brandywell, where it finished Derry City 1, Shamrock Rovers 2. Just before we get into that, Shamrock Rovers are set to complete the sign of Dungannon Swift striker John McGovern, the 22-year-old who scored 20 goals across all competitions this season, will link up with Stephen Bradley's side likely on July 1st. So what a boost that is for Shamrock Rovers. And this was a very good win for them on the back of winning last week convincingly against St Patrick's Athletic. This was a very important win up in the Brandywell, which it's a difficult place to go to, and always has been difficult for Shamrock Rovers as well. It's not an easy game, especially the fact they went behind at 65 minutes thanks to that man Danny Mullen, who I think is a little bit underrated. Let me know in the comments if you're a Derry City fan what you think of Danny Mullen, because certainly compared to the strikers of the club, I think he's a little bit underrated. He gives them a bit more mobility. He takes a chance very well in this game as well. But Michael Noonan equalises on 61. Great opportunist goal. It was a long strike from Pico Lopez of all people. Brian Marr tips it onto the bar. Noonan very sharp, finishes it to the net. And Derry man McAneff scored on 89 minutes to give Shamrock Rovers a brilliant win at the Brandywell, and they're 6 points clear at the top of the table now, ahead of Drogheda United. Derry City and Bohemians have games in hand, etc., who are 8 points further adrift. But massive win for Shamrock Rovers. And whereas Derry City have done well recently, I suppose this was a bit of a I don't know if it even called it a knockback, but maybe a small reality check as well. Derry City's aim has to be to try and get into Europe this year, and it's nearly starting to look like that's going to be everyone's aim, because Shamrock Rovers are flying now, absolutely flying. And I think they're the one team, and I've said this earlier on in the season, if they can get a bit of a gap more than any other team, that'll be very difficult for any other team to actually catch them. It's a case of twofold, really. For me, it's a case of who's good enough to actually catch them in reality, and the fact that they're playing really well at the moment, and they've a lot of players, available. They've had a couple of injuries like every other team, but nothing to the magnitude really of last season. Getting distracted by the background there. Hope you don't hear that actually. But they're getting and it's really helping them at the moment. It's really helping them. They've got so many options. Jack Byrne's back playing. Healy has been sensational for them. Not surprised there. Another player I want to pick out is a player that left Bohemians and was largely criticised by the Daily Mail faithful. That's doing really well. Is Danny Grant. And it's something I wanted to talk about a little bit as well. I know I'm getting away from the game, but it still bears fruit. I mean, Bradley seems to identify players really well. Players that you think, is he good enough for Shamrock Rovers? You often see that, and they just seem to fit. It's the culture. I think they've built a culture at that club now, I think. A winning culture, a brilliant mentality. And it's not just a case of bringing in players that are, players that have good ability. It's players that fit into what they're trying to do, have the right attitude mentally. And I think that's absolutely huge for a club, for any club. And you can see it at Shamrock Rovers, and they're on it this year, and they want their title back. Very difficult to stop them. Derry City, you'd have to say after 17 games, Derry City fans, particularly after the start, that there has been a marked improvement. And I think that's I think they have to be fairly happy with where they are and where they're going, being honest with you, at the moment, this moment in time. And they're definitely more of a unit than they were earlier on in the season. They looked a bit of a shambles earlier on in the season, and a lot of that had to do with the fact that manager coming in late, to be honest. Players coming in late, to be honest, as well. There are some good players there. There's something to build on. They're building a foundation. And as I said, Europe would be a massive success. Of course, if they won this game, they would have been putting real pressure on Shamrock Rovers as such. But they still have to be happy where they are. And I think Tiernan Lynch, looking at it, will feel happy enough. And they were competitive in this game. They only lost the game in the last minute at the end of the day against a really good team in form. So, Derry City 1, Shamrock Rovers 2. Let me know what you think in the comments. Sullivan Land Park finished Drogheda United 1, Bohemians 0. Great result for Drogheda United. Puts them in a position in the table. They're second in the table again. Bows are fourth. Bizarrely haven't drawn a game this season. Such a weird record, isn't it? 17 games gone for Bows, 9 wins. Which is more than anyone bar Shamrock Rovers, but 8 defeats. It's really strange. For example, Drogheda have had 3 defeats. So it's a bit strange, but Drogheda, as usual, didn't have much possession in this game. The penalty itself was a foul. Sean Grehan, it's a pointless foul, isn't it? Really. He'd be disappointed with that. And Dougie scores his first goal of the season from the penalty spot. Bowls did have the chances. They hit the post. 2 occasions, I believe. Certainly once with Cornwall. I think, yeah, they hit it twice as well. And they had a goal ruled out for offside, which I did think was offside. Flowers at the back post. I think it's Dougie on the line, but the goalkeeper is ahead of the play. So that's the reason it was given offside. But Bowles did have chances. Young Smith came on and a great chance. Dennison does well, though, doesn't he? He makes the angle. Tyson makes a good save. So Bowles will be disappointed that they didn't get something from the game. That said, they'll be happy enough with the performance, you know what I mean? And I think they shouldn't see it as they've been on a good run, basically. And this is just a little dent, basically. That's the way they should see it, in my view. And so they didn't play poorly in the game. As I said, Drogheda always give up possession, but Bowes did create some good chances in the game. And, you know, the offside goal, in fairness, is a bit unlucky as well. If they go in front, you have a different game. If buts and maybes, I know, but even so. Also, guys, I'm very aware that the video seems to be lagging a bit at times, so apologies for that. I'm not really sure why, but it's put me off a little bit, to be honest with you as well, because I'm trying to concentrate on what I'm saying, and I keep looking at it on screen as well, so hopefully that doesn't keep up. But Drogheda to be absolutely delighted with this victory, and a bit of a skirmish at the end between Doherty and Reynolds, which I find quite funny, to be honest with you. And there's conflicting reports what's going on. Like, from what I've been told from good sources, is that you know, Rennie wasn't very happy with Kevin Doherty's celebrations, but you know, Rennie was also in a situation where he, you know, was complaining that Doherty was basically after his job last season as well, which is ridiculous, by the way. I don't know where he got that from. But then there's people on the other side telling me other stories as well. So I'm getting from the Drogheda side, this is what happened. From the Bowl side, this is what happened, etc., whatever. But quite funny, really, to be honest with you. Before I leave this game, though, Drogheda United next week, there's a charity match at Sullivan Lamb Park. So remember that, particularly if you're a Drogheda fan. Tickets are €5. I'll leave the link into the description. That gets you into a raffle. Loads of brilliant prizes there. 2 p.m. on Saturday. A lot of guest players like Graham Gartland, Stephen Meaney, McAvoy's playing in that one as well, Ryan McAvoy. Adam Foley and Dave Webster are all going to play in that. I'm playing it as well, so I'm a bit worried about it, to be honest. I know, I'm only messing. It'll be a good day out as well. Be a brilliant day out. So it goes to 2 great charities as well: Save Our Sons and Daughters Women's and Children's Refuge Centre in Drogheda as well. Yeah, so let me know what you think in the comments. Finished Drogheda United 1, Bohemians 0. Now at Eamon DC Park, Galway United picked up a much needed victory against Cork City, winning by 2-1. Again, Cork City conceded a late goal. Former player Conor McCormack scored after 85 minutes to give Galway United the win. Moses Dyer giving Galway United the lead in 49 with a brilliant play. He squeezed it into the back of the net. It was a brilliant play. Daniels scored a penalty in 53 minutes for Cork City. Notably, Sean Maguire didn't take it, and he was on the field. Dubious penalty for me. It looks like a hit Jenny Asue in the back, to be honest, and was given as a handball. It was harsh, but Galway picked up the win in the end, and probably deserved it. A much needed win for them. Keeps them in the hunt for European football. They're on 23 points now. Cork City still joint bottom with Sligo. Rovers will be disappointed. You know, Nash will be looking at bringing in a couple of players and reinforcements, I think. And 0-0, Cottle Sullivan misses a great chance. One you'd expect him to finish, to be fair. A little bit like Sligo Rovers Cork, though. They concede quite a few goals. They're only 3-point goals scored less than Sligo Rovers in the league as well. But it's a massive, massive win for Galway United. A much needed win for John Caulfield's men. And you know, Cork City are very competitive in all their games, to be fair, but recently they've coughed up late goals, and you can score late goals and get wins. It becomes a bit of a habit, but the opposite becomes a habit as well, and that's a habit they'll want to try and get out of, just psychological, really, out of their game. But that said, as I said, Colsall does miss a great chance at 0-0. Galway United overall did deserve to win the game. They were the better side and picked up a massive, massive win. Let me know what you think in the comments. Now, Talca Park finished Shelbourne 3, Sligo Rovers 2. Massive, massive win for Shelbourne. Always felt there'd be goals in this game. Hat-trick for John Martin, notably. Doesn't start too many games. A player I felt has been undervalued a little bit by Shelbourne. I felt in the last number of weeks he should have been starting ahead of Meepo. That was just a personal opinion. And I mean, he can't be dropped now after scoring a hat-trick, and a very good hat-trick too. Caffrey set up two of them, I believe, as well. They took the lead. Sorry, Sligo Rovers, I should say, took the lead on 3 minutes thanks to the defender McElroy. Shelbourne will be disappointed with the goal they conceded. But the problem with Sligo Rovers generally is that they play very good open football. They really do. But it leaves massive gaps and holes defensively for them, and they've a lot of inexperience in the back line as it is, and that's what happened in this game. It suited Shelbourne. Shelbourne be delighted they took advantage, and thanks to John Martin, who scored two very good goals and then a very, very scrappy goal as well for his hat-trick on 58. But I know Sligo Rovers got nothing out of the game, but what a strike from Owen Elding. Brilliant strike. Very, very good player, Owen Elding, and I think he was playing as a 10 at times in this particular game, just behind Kavanagh, certainly from the beginning. But what a strike. He picks it up and he's not just lashing it for the sake of lashing it. It must be about 30 yards out, and the power and precision, it's unbelievable. And when they say no keeper stops that, genuinely. It's an unbelievable finish. I've watched it about 10 times. Like, if you haven't seen it, go and watch it. Owen Elding's goal for Sligo Rovers against Shells. You see it in FAI TV, for example. It's an unbelievable strike, but just unfortunate again for Sligo Rovers not getting anything out of the game. They're the type of team who can score 2 or 3 goals and end up on the losing side. You have to get that balance. The summer window's going to be huge for them. I think the summer window, whoever wins the summer window between Sligo Rovers and Cork City, stay up, or go to 9th anyway in the league. That's going to be massive. It reminds me of Dundalk and Drogheda United last year. Drogheda United absolutely hammered Dundalk in the summer window, and that became a massive difference. So that's a big thing. Shelbourne be delighted to get back to winning ways, and yes, they're conceding more goals. They're missing Paddy Barr badly. I've said it a million times. I'm not going to say it every time, but I've said it again. And obviously then Kearns in goal as well, which is obviously clearly a loss too. So, they're picking up a few more injuries, Shelbourne, they did this time last year. Everything seemed to go with them last year. And I won't say everything's going against them this year, but they're not going to win the league, let's be honest, this season. If they can get a European place, it'll be a very good season for Shelbourne, but a very important win for them nonetheless, and keeps them on that European hunt. Now, Richmond Park finished impartially like 2, Waterford FC 2. Really good, interesting and entertaining game at Richmond Park. In a way, it was a Mason Melia show. He kind of, I would say, gained a point for Pats in this game, really. Lonergan scored after 2 minutes. Terrible start for Pats. Brilliant start for Waterford. Very poor defensively from Pats. They've been very poor recently defensively as well. What's that? They've conceded 8 goals in the last 3 games. You're not going to win many football matches conceding that many goals, are you? To be fair. But a great start for Waterford. But they failed to capitalise. They dominated up to the point Mealy equalises in 28 minutes, and they had so many chances to, I would say, kill the game, to be honest with you. Even to get one more goal, they kill Pats, I think, the way Pats are playing at the moment. And, Melia scores in 28 and a brilliant individual goal in 33 minutes. It's a brilliant goal. He takes it away. Great strength, power, pace, and a lovely finish. His first finish was opportunist as well after a mishit shot from Redmond. Fell into his path. But Pat suddenly were 2-1 up without being brilliant. As I said, Waterford failed to capitalise. Into the second half, Colin Noonan scores a good goal in 81 minutes and gets Waterford a deserved point. They deserve more from the game, if I'm honest with you. Pats were all over the place, really, again. And, their midfield's a big worry, a big problem, because Forrester technically wasn't fit enough for this game. And when you feel like you have to bring him in, he came off for 57 minutes. When you feel like you have to bring him in, even though he's not fit enough, you have a problem. McLaughlin, a right back, came on and played in midfield there. Bagley's struggling at the moment. without Lennon, etc. Lennon was unavailable for this game, and Forrester really wasn't right and probably shouldn't have played. But it was a point of who else did they play in the middle of the park, to be honest with you. So it's a difficult one. I can understand why he played, but they're really struggling, Pats, at the moment. And again, Roddy Collins came out with comments after the game, and I kind of said something similar after the Shamrock Rovers games. Some players there, and they're not really grafting and putting in the work rate and desire. Waterford did that. They harassed, which allowed them and gave them the platform to play good football as well. And as I said, for me, Waterford FC were the better side and deserved to win the match. Only for Mason Mealy, I think they win the match, and probably comfortably. So Pats have got issues there, and there's there was a bit of a row between Mulroney and Kenny at the end of the game, or not at the end of the game, when Mulroney was coming off as well, to be honest. And I don't know. There's some players there that just don't seem to have the minerals mentally, if I'm honest with you. They're the type of team who, when they're going well, they can go on a run. But I think Stephen Kenny's finding out more about this team this season than he did at the back end of last season when they went on that big run, to be honest with you. Now, that said, as I said, they've problems in midfield at the moment, key players missing and having to play players are unfit and all that kind of stuff. But I think Stephen Kenny has to be supported in trying. There's a culture. I talk about the culture at Shamrock Rovers under Bradley, McPhail, great relationship there, and they seem to get the right players now with the right mentality in. That's something that has to happen at Pats, and culture changes need time, to be honest with you. And there's I'm not going to name individual players, but you can guess which players by watching that aren't putting it in, or if things go wrong, the heads go down. So they have to build on a foundation of hard work and energy and work rate. That's a big thing. Waterford played good football. I thought controlled the game in the second half. I think if they scored earlier, they'd probably go and win the game. It took them 81 minutes. That's probably hurt them a little bit. But I thought they controlled the game and played some good football in the game. And they'd be delighted with their upturn, being honest with you as well. Absolutely delighted with their upturn. And John Coleman would be very happy with a lot of the stuff he saw, although he'd be disappointed to win the game. But as I said, individual stuff from Melia helped Pats through. Could be an interesting window for Pats. Where do they go? Do they have players identified to bring in? Because they have to get to that foundation. And I believe Kenny was brought in to try and change the culture of the club. That doesn't happen overnight. But superb performance by Waterford. Just disappointing for them they didn't get the win. Let me know what you think in the comments. So that's it, guys. Thanks again for watching. Let me know what you think about the games at the weekend, any talking points, etc. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And once again, thank you. Bye-bye.